Lagos is more than a city. It is an idea. It is a heartbeat of Africa, fueled by the sweat and ambition of millions who go there to build a future. Over the past few days, Lagosians have been in pain. They have taken to X, also known as Twitter, to vent their shared frustration at the predatory increase in rent. They are seeing 80 to 400% increases with no improvements to the property, while landlords are citing market forces and inflation as excuses, right? People are being priced out of the neighborhoods they have called home for decades. Families are being forced into debt, substandard housing, or relocation back to their villages. Lagos faces a massive affordable housing deficit. We see luxury apartments in Ikoyi standing empty, while the everyday people, the mechanics, the teachers, the tech builders, and the traders struggle to find a place to lay their heads. This madness will not end until the Lagos state government makes housing a human right, not a luxury. Lagos grows by over 1 million people every year, 90% of whom are low-income earners. We cannot leave their fate in the hands of private developers who are only incentivized by high-end return. The state must actively invest in affordable housing with matching infrastructure. We need incentives that make low-cost housing a viable reality for developers, not just a marketing buzzword. The Tenancy Law 2011 has been treated as a suggestion for too long because enforcement is low. We need a state to protect its residents from the lords of the land. We must expedite the passing and, more importantly, the enforcement of a new tenancy law that restricts advance rent to a maximum of 1 year for new tenants, caps agency and legal fees at 5% of annual rent, criminalizes forced evictions without due process, and mandates transparency through mandatory receipts and biannual service charge accountings. Lagos State, your citizens are your greatest assets. Without them, the center of excellence is just a collection of empty buildings. It is time to step in. It is time to protect the people who make this city move.
I think that I've done a couple of advocacies around this, even if it's not directly on saying housing,
done a
right?
lot on real estate.
Yes,
and all that, yeah.
and I'll try to start from the optimistic part. I'm just seeing a news where the Lagos State government, I think this was on the 19th of January, says that they would intensify strategy for 2026 to expand the state's housing stock and address the deficit. I mean, the deficit is around 3.4 million now, and they are estimating to build 3 million to address that. And they're looking to finish up projects that have been pending. I think Songo Tedo Phase 2, Ibeshe Phase 2, and all that, you know. And I mean, looking at this, one can say, hopefully, something will change. But there is also a fundamental greed culture that needs to be addressed, whether we're going to do it from the legislative point of view. Or the government has to step in, because why are you increasing a property by 400%? I don't understand. Are we all supposed to carry guns? What exactly are we supposed to do? So there needs to be laws that are not just suggestion, that need to be carried out, right? And then implemented rather. And then back to this, let's assume or hope that this housing unit then comes to life. How do they plan to ensure that it really serves those who need it? Because we've seen situations where these houses are built. I mean, the former governor of Lagos, Fashola, did a couple.
Lagos Home.
We've had a lot, right? But then we also hear that people who are of means find ways to buy and occupy these houses, and then we are still struggling to pay the rent.
So this is me trying to come out, somehow stay in the middle. All right, and don't crucify me yet.
I'm not.
Are
Don't
you
crucify me yet.
representing Lagos State?
No,
Why are you in the middle?
I'm not. I've actually, at this table, done a few advocacies on rent regulation. And I could remember when I made one of the suggestions, the people at this table were the ones that crucified me. And one of those recommendations was the fact that you cannot say that you have housing deficit. If you add the housing deficit in Lagos and Abuja together, you have over 5 million. And then you have empty buildings in this state that are not occupied. And then people are looking at it. And one of the suggestions I said was that government should do a regulation that says if you have a building and it's empty for 1 year, they will take it over.
I agree with
and
you.
they will rent it out.
I agree with you. In fact, I'm hoping that somebody will talk about it.
They
because
will
I can't
rent
talk
it
about
out.
everything.
Have a property. I didn't use for 1 year.
Yes.
Why are you not using it?
Because you see,
Because my
because
kids are not here.
exactly.
Yeah,
So that's the problem. So you see the problem there.
So you
I
don't
mean,
need
that's
to
not my own case.
Exactly.
Let somebody
You don't
believe
need
in
the
there
space.
before they
It was people at this table, some of them property
I
owners
agree
and
with
landlords, who said, "My property, you will come and take it," and that's the problem you have. So
And that's reenacted. That's
yes, that's the
reenacted.
problem you have. So that we know the problem. There's a housing deficit issue.
Yeah.
But we also know that government cannot fill that gap completely. So there's going to have to be some collaboration between government and private sector to do this. And when you're talking private sector, it has to be profitable. So you cannot make regulation for the private sector that the private sector looks at it and says, "No, I'm not even going to go there because it makes no sense for me if this is the case." So we're going to need to have some reasonable middle point here.
There are case studies where this thing has worked. I was reading, when I saw your advocacy, I was trying to find out this problem is not peculiar. We cite countries that are taxing their people and then we choose to tax our people. There are countries that have solved public housing problem. Why are we not studying that template? I saw the Singapore model. And it's perfect. Yeah, it has its own, but it works so well. One of the things they did was this whole idea of you have a house, you can't buy the public house, the public,
You can only rent it.
You can't own it if you already have a house. And if you do that, you've solved a lot of problem.
Yeah.
And then, using high-rise, maximizing spaces to build high-rise buildings.
We don't have light.
For lift,
Yeah.
We don't.
Anyway, I agree. I mean, that's a point you're making.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
at least let's solve the problem
It's a
first.
valid point, yes.
You can still do up to 5 stories. We'll
Yes,
climb
do even 10.
How will water get up?
it. It will, if you get up, we
You
have 5
can do
stories.
that. You put the
buildings in
tank
Nigeria.
up there. Then it is a social human right approach. So all the buccaneers who want to make money, go and find land and build elsewhere. But this one, we want to solve a problem. And beyond solving, what I've also found out was the Singapore's approach to crime prevention was linked to housing. So because there's no slum for you to run into, you must live in a decent environment. And you can't commit crimes there because we're going to fish you out. So while we're complaining that there's so much crime in Lagos State, people are being chased out of their homes. We're creating opportunities for criminals to hide. So why don't we solve those problems in such a way that people can find a formal settlement where you can tell that, okay, this is my neighbor, he's a criminal, let me report him. Or he's not, that's my take. Let's study what has worked and see how we can muster the political will and the right intention to solve a problem.
Thank you for the advocacy. It's really timely. We need to do something about this issue that we have in Nigeria. I think I read somewhere where Governor Sanwo-Olu did say that people should not charge more than 1 year. But like we've said here, it's the implementation.
Yeah.
But I know I have read it. And
There's a law.
There's a law.
Yeah,
Yeah,
did not
there's a
even
law
start with
regarding
There's a law. And when it
So
was passed, they
definitely,
adhered.
so I know it
It was
exists.
dead on arrival.
So
Yeah.
how do
No, they
we
did.
how do
They
we
adhered.
implement? It's, a lot of things. We have a lot of things written down in Nigeria. Implementation is always a challenge for us. So we need to push so that people can have
Who do we report to? When
exactly.
they say we should pay 2 years.
When you say we should pay 2 years.
No. Most landlords in Lagos actually collect 1 year. Most.
Yeah, they do.
The problem
They've shifted.
the
Within
problem
last year and this year,
is-
they've shifted.
The
They are
agent.
now
Really?
It's
going
the
back to 2
agents.
years.
The agents.
is the agents.
Okay,
It's
so what are the
agents, really.
consequences of
Thank
all
you.
this
Of
that is
breaking
happening?
such
I'll give
laws.
you
Who do we report
practical.
to?
I'll give you just practical how it's affecting the everyday man. So, say for example, I work in an estate. Our school is in Parkview Estate. I've noticed that Parkview is an old estate with a lot of old people now gone. Their children are there, and we live in an environment where it's a japa, so they're half abroad, half there. A lot of them are breaking up the homes,
high rises
Short
everywhere,
apartments.
short let apartments. Okay, so Mr. Inka has said that they should take over the homes. Who will determine the price, the cost, that rent? Who is going to determine the cost of it? Because homes in Parkview are unaffordable. I know someone that has just taken a home in Parkview for 30 million naira. 30 million for 1 year.
Buying or renting?
Renting. What are you talking about?
Renting.
So who determines the price? Even if they take over.
Even that kind of house, if she tells you the size and the amount of rooms inside, you will get the picture.
If I take the house,
So
who
let's
will
not think
determine?
it's just
Can I
30
give
million
you-
of any
can I-
house.
Hang on.
Can I prescribe a solution for you?
Hang on. I want to use your own example because you
Yes.
said they should take over our homes. So the last I checked, I think you have some spare rooms because some people are not looking for houses. I hope you realize.
Yeah.
Some people are just looking for a room. They don't even mind sharing the bathroom. I think you have some spare rooms in your house. So let the government
Who
start
says I have
seizing,
it? How would you know I have it?
seizing.
I have
They need to
it
start
in my
seizing
house.
spaces
No, but
in
that's,
your own
that's
home.
begging the issue.
You see, the point here is, look, government coming in to take over is not just by fiat. There will be incentives to the developer.
You should say it that way.
Yeah,
If they're
that's
snatching
part
my
of it
home, I
now.
have a
So
challenge.
there'll be tax incentives, for instance. If government says to you that, okay, because of that, I'm going to give you a tax holiday for 2 years.
Yes, that makes more sense.
Exactly.
Yes.
You know, so it's not
But
going
don't
to
just take
be-
over my home and tell me that
You
somebody
know,
will leave.
and the rent still goes to you but what the government is doing is just to make sure that that property is not empty and the rent would be location specific. So it's not for somebody who is living in Abule Egba to think that it's going to go and pay the same.
You're not
No.
moving to
So if we
Parkview
don't do
automatically.
something about
Anyway.
it immediately, there's going to be problems because even teachers,
I don't have a problem with Abule Egba people. Also.
teachers
Before they start
cannot
coming
get
after
to
me.
work. People cannot get to work. It's affecting children now because they don't have a place to stay. So there's a lot of absenteeism in schools now.
The saying, what goes up must come down, should be made to apply to the Lagos housing market.